this is when we tend to understand, oh, actually that person is scamming people, or actually that person isn't somebody who I want to work with because the marketing looks great, but the delivery is not great. You know, that's when we start to join the dots, when people start talking.
Hello, I'm so pleased to have the Jessica Lorimer on the first ever episode of the Truthbomb Show. Welcome, Jess. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm excited. I also like that you introduced me with the. I feel like I'm now capitalised.
You pretty much are. Every time I introduce you, it's always the Jessica Lorimer. But yeah, no, honestly, I'm so excited to have you here and talking to us about, which I'll introduce in a second, but I just want to, because it's the first episode of the Truthbomb Show, I want to really introduce this show, what it's all about, what you're going to be seeing moving forward. And so it's kind of got a twofold purpose to this show. So one of the first things that I'm really excited about, which is I kind of introduced this a while ago, is one of the most juiciest things I've ever created. And this show is all around sharing the things that really kind of, you call it get your goat, I call it piss you off, in and around your industry. The kind of the myths that we need to bust, and the things that, you know, that feel out of potentially integrity for people within their industry, that they really want to kind of bust wide open. And I think that's so important that we do that, because staying silent on these matters is kind of accepting them and letting them happen. And I think we have a responsibility to speak up for our truth, for what we believe in, and really getting out there to express those opinions. And that's, you know, at the end of the day, by doing that, that's the only way that change is going to happen. It's by kind of spreading those ideas. And on a second fold, it's also about talking about those things that we know aren't talked about enough, that we know that if we're spoken about more, people are going to become more aware, more educated, and they're going to be able to boost their business in ways that they've never seen before. These kind of hidden nuggets that people, almost like people talk about the gurus, that they like to kind of hide those away. And I'm sure that isn't the case, but there are always these things that you know aren't spoken about enough, things that we know, if somebody just knew, that would transform their whole business if they just perhaps stopped doing this one thing and changed tact, or even started doing something they just haven't even thought of. So it's just about busting all of those myths wide open, introducing the things that are going to massively help us, and in the meantime having a ton of fun, laughter, and on occasions a wee rant, which is always nice.
We do love a rant, we do.
Exactly. I'm hoping for a rant today as well, because you've come to the table with a topic that's very, very close to my heart, and that is delivering and delivery on, you know, what you say you're going to be doing, and, you know, particularly in the context of business, but really this applies to every situation. But I'd like to kind of hand back over to you now to introduce your topic, why you've chosen it, and a bit about what's going on in your mind with that at the moment.
I think the thing is, for me, so let's put it in perspective. I've been in business for 3.5 years now, you know, 4 years in May. And that's been purely in the online space. So I've seen lots and lots of different things. And the online space goes through peaks and troughs. Sometimes we have lots of coaches, consultants, web designers, VAs, Facebook ads people, all doing wonderful things. And they're really helping people. People are getting amazing results. We see people's brands skyrocket, their sales skyrocket, and it's wonderful. The downside and the kind of seedy side that I see to online business quite a lot is that the troughs mean that actually there are some people who are in business who are taking the money and they're not delivering. Now, I don't mean they're just taking the money and running, although that is happening and it really, really hacks me off. But we're seeing people who say, for example, I'm a sales coach and I'm going to help you skyrocket your sales and it's all going to be great. You just pay me 15K and then that's cool. And then the poor client turns up, and actually what they're turning up to is weekly calls where the coach kind of can't be bothered, isn't really in the right space for coaching, is emptying their dishwasher, driving along in their car, not really bothered about whether or not this person is getting any value because they've already got the cash. So they're not worried about it, you know, and we're seeing this more and more frequently, or we're seeing people get burnt more and more frequently but we're not talking about it. And so what's actually happening is that we're perpetuating these businesses, and we're kind of putting them up there and going, oh, well, these people are making loads of money. They're making loads of sales. That's great. And what we're not looking at is, are we doing a due diligence? Are we looking at whether these people are actually getting results? Is it kind of a one-time wonder, or is it something that is consistently delivered? And more importantly, are people having a good experience? Because sometimes, let's face it, we can't work miracles. We can't get every client the result that we want them to have. But are the clients going away and saying, yeah, really enjoyed working with Jess, really enjoyed working with Jen? Or are they going away and saying, don't really feel like that investment was justified?
Yeah, you're totally right. And something that we were speaking about a couple of weeks ago is that, when you give a good customer service, those clients are going to just come straight back again, aren't they? Rather than, hacking off a ton of people and having to generate new clients. And eventually that's going to end up stopping happening anyway, because of the reputation that you're building.
And this is the thing. I mean, the average person who is unhappy with their service will go and tell 10 other people. Right, so they'll go out and they'll tell 10 other people, oh, that sucked. And we see this in the UK all the time. When the trains aren't running, there are thousands of people on Twitter who are like, Southwest Trains, you're rubbish. Great Western, you're rubbish. And they'll go on and they'll tell the whole world, if they can, that the train's crap. On the days that the trains are running, there are not thousands of people on Twitter going, yay, go Southwest, woohoo, on time, buddy, right? Nobody cares. They're just kind of taking it as, this is the service I paid for, and this is what I'm getting. So if we look at the online space, yes, testimonials are slightly more frequent. People are more open to perhaps saying when somebody did a really good job, but it's still much less frequent than people who will go and tell other people. Now, they won't do it publicly. So this is the thing, people will actually go out and they will say to their friends, and in the entrepreneur world, it's so incestuous. Everyone knows everyone. We're on the same Facebook group, right? And so they'll go and they'll say to, like I would say to you, oh, I did this and it wasn't what I expected. And then you might go and tell your good friends, oh, I know somebody who did this course and they said it wasn't what they expected. And they might, and this is how it kind of happens. And that's when we start to see the dots joining, and so this is when we tend to understand, oh, actually that person is scamming people, or actually that person isn't somebody who I want to work with because the marketing looks great, but the delivery is not great. That's when we start to join the dots, when people start talking.
100%. And I think the space that we can move into is kind of villainizing and calling people scammers. But actually, I think that a lot of people don't deliver on what they say they're going to do, and they're not necessarily a villain or a bad person or anything like that. But why do you think it happens? Where do you think it goes wrong? These genuinely good-hearted people out there who are then being perhaps classed as a scammer. I mean, like there are people out there who are deliberately scamming. Let's not flower around it. But there are people out there who aren't necessarily that sort and would hate to think that they would be classed as that. So for those people that are sitting there going, I never want that to be tarnished as that person. Yeah. Why does it happen? What can they do to sort it?
I think with a lot of people, it's about overselling. People on sales calls get very, very caught up in, I want the sale. And that's great. We all want the sale. We all want to make money. That's cool. We also all know that if our clients put in 100% effort and that we put in 100% effort, there are results that they can get, that it is possible for them to get. Sometimes though, when people go onto the sales call and they have such a strong attachment to the cash at the end, and they are so desperate to show the client, you're going to get this, that instead of saying, there is a possibility that you can do this, or these are the clients that have done really well, and being transparent about what took them to that point, what their starting point was, what their goals were, etc. What happens is people go onto the sales call and say, this will definitely happen for you. I'm going to, with marketing, I'm going to put out one Facebook ad and you are going to get 3,000 leads in a week, right? And this is the mistake that people are making. They're guaranteeing verbally results that actually we cannot control, because everybody starts from a different position. So what then happens is the customer goes away and they go, okay, well, I'm going to get 3,000 leads in a week. Woohoo, awesome. Mm-hmm. they don't think about the cost of it. They don't think about the work involved. They don't know about the conversions, because one person's business differs to another, one funnel changes to another. And so they end up not getting 3,000. Maybe they get 2,999, but they're immediately not happy, because what they were sold, what was promised, was not delivered. So you have to be really careful in your sales calls that you're telling people transparently, yes, these results can happen for you, but you would need to do the work. This is the starting point that you would need to be at in order to maximize that experience. Not, hey, my client did this, you can too.
Absolutely. And would you agree that this kind of, because what I find a lot of the time is, I bang on about this all the time. Don't be afraid to promise a result. In order to get, people to be interested in what you've got to offer, you've got to offer them something. You need to give them something to bite their teeth into. But is there a time and a place, right, to make that promise and to get real with people?
Absolutely. And you need to get real when they're spending the cash. And also when people are asking questions. People ask questions because we want to feel reassured. We want to know that whatever it is that we're paying for, we're actually going to receive. So if people say, can I see your testimonials? Say yes. I don't understand what the problem is. I see lots and lots of coaches online who are saying, I don't get on sales calls anymore. Well, fine. You're a lazy seller. Like, there's literally nothing else to it, because sales calls are not about the client being bought in. They're about you assessing, is that client a good fit for me?
Yeah.
And and it works both ways. That client has should have every right to say, I want to see your testimonials. Yeah, of course, in an ideal world, we want them to be doing their due diligence beforehand. We don't want them to just be hopping on sales calls left, right, and center because they feel like it. But equally, everyone has the right to say, can you tell me how this would work for me?
Yeah.
It's not about giving them free coaching. It's about saying, okay, well, if you wanted the same results, you'd have to start from the same place. Let's get transparent about what your numbers look like, about what your expectations are, about what I am prepared as the coach to deliver and how I support you. Yeah. So that's where you have to get transparent, because some people might not like working with me, for example. I'm somebody who, I say to my clients, look, Monday to Friday, got a question, box me, email me, whatever. Saturday and Sunday, I'm out. So if you email me on a Friday afternoon, I'm not getting to it till Monday, and it's not happening. And some people want a coach that's on 24/7. The thing is, though, that I outline that in the sales call. I'm like, look, Monday to Friday, 100% in. These are my working hours. Got a question, I'll get back to you within this time frame. All good. Saturday and Sunday, not in a million years. Suck it up. It's 2 days. You're going to have to wait.
It's about being transparent with those boundaries, right? About laying it out. This is what you can expect. And I think that's so important. It's one of the things I love about you and the courses that I've been through with you, is that you are so, and it's something I'll just quite happily say that I've stolen from you, is that transparency with boundaries is just incredible. And I'm like, wow, I really love this. I know what I'm getting. I know what I'm expecting. And also it stops that, well, I've messaged you on a Friday. Why aren't you getting back to me? Like, what's the problem? And then I'm like, and then I feel like, oh, you didn't tell me. Like, if I'd have known, then I would have felt better. Again, it's that customer experience. And when they know what they're going to get, it feels so much nicer. And also, just picking up on something else that you talked about in terms of, which is now just completely flown out of my head. It'll come back to me. Just like something else that you've talked about, was about hang on, I'll get there. It was the client journey, and expectations, boundaries. No, it's absolutely gone. So
like, don't worry.
I'll come back to you in a second. You carry on. I know you'll do well.
I think the interesting thing is, for me, it's expectation. And there was an article about this recently with regards to relationships. And the guy, a guy wrote it, I can't remember his name. And he basically wrote, expectation is the killer of relationships. And he'd been to this kind of like marriage, pre-marriage, I don't know what you call them, education sessions. Let's go with that. And the guy was saying, what do you believe is the biggest problem in marriages? Is it infertility? Is it cheating? Is it, lying, whatever? And people threw out all their things. And he said, no, it's expectation. When we expect something and the reality looks different, we experience disappointment. And depending on how transparent somebody's been about their expectations and delivery means that the gap for disappointment can be much bigger or much smaller. So if you're not being clear about what somebody's going to get, i.e. Monday to Friday, great, Saturday, Sunday, nope.
Yeah.
It means that, like you say, when they call on a Friday afternoon and nobody answers until Monday, they're spending those 2 days in a period of big disappointment, right? They're not getting what they expected.
Yes.
And they don't feel reassured anymore, and they don't trust you anymore. So when they then go out and talk to other people, they go, oh yeah, I thought it was going to be great. But because of this one communication error, no, don't trust it anymore. And they start to not put the work in. And that's where you see clients fail, because suddenly, because of one thing, they lose that trust, it's gone. And everything else then becomes a struggle for them to implement. They don't want to. Will it really work? Can they be bothered? And you get into this vicious cycle then of the coach being like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
And the client being like, nah, I didn't get the results. It was all crap. And completely forgetting about the experience.
Exactly. All the good stuff that came out of it. It just come back to me what I was going to say was about this. I knew it would come back. It would come back and strike. I need to talk about it before I forget again. So it's about when you get someone on the end of the phone, I think that some people get scared of setting those boundaries in place, but actually what happens is that because they think, I might lose the sale, or they might not want to do it. And if that's the case, well, then that's the case, and they're not the right person for you. If you've got the right person on the end of the phone, when they hear that they need to kind of perhaps reframe where they're going to get to and look at the genuine results. I always talk about this success island. So you look at the success island about where someone wants to go to. That's where all of your clients, whether ideal clients, whether you've got 1 or 2 or 3, however they are, they all want to achieve that, right? But depending on where they are on that timeline depends on how fast that's going to happen. And it's just about being realistic with people to say, you can absolutely get there. No one's saying that you won't. But from this time that you spend with me, this is what you can expect to achieve. This is how far you can expect to get. And if they don't want to work with you because of the fact that they're not going to get from here to here, and they're only going to get here to here, then they're not the right client anyway to be working with, right?
Exactly. People who are expecting miracle cures are not going to do the work anyway. So, if you have to readjust somebody's expectations, you have to bear in mind for them, initially it's going to be a disappointment. Nobody wants to hear that the Facebook ad dream is in fact a massive con, right? I don't know anyone that made 100K in 2 days of setting up their business and then just retired to Barbados and kind of chilled there for a few months. That doesn't happen. Hard work is required. When we reset somebody's expectations and we let them know, actually the things that you've been told in marketing are not the reality for somebody that is currently at the stage you are at, that's a little bit of a kick in the teeth. We have to accept that. And that is something that comes along with our industry. What we also have to accept though is that, clients ultimately are wasting a lot of money in this industry. And I get people who come to me and they've been in the online space for 8 months, 12 months. And they come to me and they go, oh, Jess, I wish I'd found you first. And I wish I had the money to invest with you now. But I don't, because I spent it on insert every shiny object and plus a very expensive coach into the bargain. And actually that's really detrimental to people.
Yeah.
When the reality is that if we'd have just been honest with people in the first place, look, in order to set up a business, you need to know who your ideal client is. You need to know what you're selling and who you're selling to. And that's the first journey. And in business, you're going to have to make quite a few investments to get where you want to go. So see that as your stepping stone. First, I'm going to invest in clarity. Then I'm going to invest in sales. Then I'm going to invest in long-term marketing. Then I'm going to invest in, instead people go, oh my God, I'm going to invest in whatever promises me the most money in the first place. And the reality is that like every get rich quick scheme out there, it falls flat on its face because they are doomed not to work. We've seen it recently with the Bitcoin cryptocurrency. How many people went out there when it was like $12,000 or something, and they went, yeah, I'm going to go buy Bitcoin. And then as the financial world does, it fluctuates and suddenly it's back down at like 6. Yeah. And people are like, but it'll go back up. And I'm, well, if you don't know what you're doing, it's a dodgy place to put all of your eggs.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we need to be doing, is training people to do their due diligence. And actually, if you are a client and you're not getting the delivery that you want from a coach or consultant or marketer or whoever, actually have the conversation with them.
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, they won't realize there's anything wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Exactly that. And I also think that another reason why this happens to it almost innocently without people realizing it. And I'm one of the most transparent people you'll ever meet. I'll be completely honest. I fell into this trap when I first came on the scene, and, I have a tendency to want to do it because by nature, I'm an over deliverer. The difference is I'll still deliver it all. But the problem is some people physically can't do it. And so they'll offer everything. They'll pack everything into the promise, and they'll say, I'll do this and I'll do this and I'll do this and I'll do this. And it's actually physically impossible for you to do it. Perhaps it's not within your expertise to do that. And so they try and cover this broad spectrum of things because they think that's what will help. But actually all they're doing is they're being, a jack of all trades and a master of none. And it means that they get this very lukewarm experience, which again isn't the best delivery either, right?
No, 100%. And I think this is the key thing. You've got to stay within your wheelhouse. You talk about niching all the time, and it is one of those things that is really important. People often say to me, but, the more things I can do, the more people I can help. No, actually you can't, because the reality is the more things you're trying to do at once, the more context switching your brain is having to do constantly, the more you're playing catch up all the time. Master 1 to 3 things really well in your first year, and then put them on automation. And then the second year, you can master another 1 or 3 things. And then suddenly you end up in a position where I am, where I've got like 24 things that actually work really well on their own, that I don't need to do anything with. That's the difference when we're talking delivery. It's actually being able to accept that your long-term business vision, and we were talking about this morning, right? Your long-term business vision will look very different to where you are right now. The key thing is not trying to do the entire long-term business vision in your first month or year or 2 years of business, and actually making sure that you're taking the right steps to make it happen in 3 to 5. Because, the average business fails in its first year anyway. 98% of small businesses fail in their first year. It's not because idiots are going out and trying to set up businesses. It's because everyone's trying to do too much at once. So when you're making these huge promises, you're putting your clients at risk of failure because you thought that it was a good idea to try and sell them everything so that they'd never realize they had to make another investment again.
Yeah, and it's just, and also even that, without realizing it, perhaps for some people, is out of integrity, because you're promising something that just isn't true. It's just not true that you can invest once and everything will be fine, particularly in the coaching world. And I know for my clients that it's just not true. What I have, I will be completely honest, isn't enough in its entirety to take you to multi-7-figure business. It's just not going to happen. There is absolutely no way. I've not reached there myself. There's no way that what I've got will do that. But what it does do is it supplies a puzzle piece and a stepping stone, which is highly valuable to them still on its own, without all the flowery fluff and the webinar models and the techie sexy things that people like to come in. Without all of that, it will still be highly valuable and highly worth something, without having to cram all of that stuff and pegging it onto the outside of it. It's just not going to happen. I remember when I my first ever 3-month package, I had so many bonuses. It was coming out like years. You remember? Oh my God. I was like, I had every man and their dog in there helping with something. So there was something shopping in through the door. It's like, come on, Jen, how much stuff have you got in there? And because I was like, there needs to be more value. But what we do is we undervalue the amazing experience that we're going to give our clients just by focusing on that one incredible thing that when you do it well, it is transforming. It will get them to the next stage of their journey. But regardless of whether you think you can or you can't, that person's mind is in no state to jump from here to here. They've got to walk it. They've got to do it. They've got to do the journey. They've got to do the time on their own. There is no, yes, we speed it up as coaches, but we can't skip sections. You still have to do the work.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, this is the thing. I think people underestimate the benefit of a solid foundation. I get lots of people who'll come to sales calls with me and I'll turn away because if you don't know who you're selling to or who your ideal client is, I can't help you. I can teach you to sell whatever you want, but if you don't know what you want, there's no point.
Yep.
So I think, when people are looking at starting a business or when they are 6 months, 12 months in and they're wondering, why isn't it working for me? We have to look at, do you actually have the foundations? Because growing, making your first sale, making your 10th sale, building a 6-figure business, 7-figure business, an 8-figure business, whatever, is really no different. You do exactly the same things. You get clarity, you understand who you're selling, what you're selling to them, how it's helping them solve a problem, you learn sales skills, and you increase your marketing efforts. That's it. You only need 2 things to make money: traffic, offers. Done. What we're seeing is this influx of ways to do that. We've got the webinar model. We had Periscope. We have people who are podcasting. We have people who are YouTubing. And so everyone, instead of thinking, okay, who do I want to sell to? What do I want to sell them? Suddenly goes, how am I going to do that? And starts focusing on how they're going to make the sale. Like, I'm going to run a webinar, I'm going to do this huge launch, I'm going to spend a ton of money on Facebook ads, instead of thinking about what it is they're actually doing. And that's the problem. That's the problem. When we talk about delivery, if you can't go to a coach or a consultant or whoever and say, how is this going to help my plan here? And they can't give you a straight answer, they're not right.
Yep. No, exactly. Absolutely. 100%. And you talk about the right traffic and the product. It is about that right traffic. It's about going, who am I selling to, and having that right product, right? And,
exactly.
Trying to just like blanket feed the hype that's out there. Because I think that's a lot of the time where this comes from, is seeing, and this happened, about 2 years ago, didn't it? It was at its pinnacle of, coaches selling money and lifestyle sellers and people selling, you can be me and you can have all this champagne and bubbles and stuff, and don't you want it? Here's a little, that's their juicy carrot, is that whole thing. And, people trying to sell that. And at the end of the day, yes, these people are making money, but they're making money with no gun. This is another bugbear. I mean, there's a whole other Truthbomb Show about to unpop here, but selling gump, like selling fluff, there's nothing behind it. Yes, they're managing to make money. Yes, they're selling. And this is a hard lesson that I went through, like a depressed period. Do you remember? Was it about 8 months ago where I had this realization where I was like, crap, people are making money out of selling nothing. And I was like a bit like, I actually had a little sob. I was like, how are people doing this? It just don't, because I'd spun this whole thing about, you can't sell fluff. And actually it's a load of crap. You can sell fluff.
Oh yeah.
But it's totally out of integrity. The fluff I'm talking about, just for clarity, is that lifestyle, is that, look, you can be me. And it's just beyond words how, when people then get through the door and then you like, so how do you do it? And they're just like, just be me. And it's like,
but this is the thing, it's really interesting to me. You can either, and I think this is something that we've talked about before, or that I've said definitely to you before, you can either make money or you can make good money. Good money allows you to sleep at night and you're in integrity and you're genuinely showing up, you're giving value, your clients are getting results, happy days. Money, anyone can make it. I promise you could give a dog a phone, and if he had opposable thumbs and could talk, he could make money, right? In fact, he wouldn't even have to have the opposable thumbs. If a dog could talk, it would make money. It's all cool. This is what we're seeing in this online space when it comes to delivery. The delivery is not actually coaching or consulting anymore. It is, well, just be me. Buy a first class flight and take photos. And then other people will be like, oh my God, you have enough money to buy a first class flight. I'm just going to work with you. And so we saw, and you're right, it was at its height, 2 years ago, when everyone turned into a business coach. Everyone was like, oh, I was an unsuccessful, insert any other type of coach here. But now that business coaches seem to be making a ton of money, I'm going to be a business coach.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the delivery of that was that everyone was just Instagramming the nice parts of their life. So, oh, look, here I am on a flight. Here I am going on my holiday. Here I am, living with my parents, but pretending I'm not. Look at my nice house. It's not mine. I don't contribute to it anyway, But here's the spin. And so this is the thing. Everyone's got to be very careful about the difference between marketing and delivery. You know, how many people are actually going through that coach or consultant's process and getting results? And if the answer is that coach or consultant has a bunch of clients that they no longer speak to, or that they don't associate with them, well, guess what? Their marketing was great. Their delivery probably sucked. Yeah. And this is what we have to watch out for. You know, that's why it is really important to pick somebody transparent to coach with. You know, my business has been very successful. It's phenomenal. However, I'm sat here today in my living room, not in my office, because I've got really bad back. So I've got my hot water bottle on my back. It's not glamorous. My dog is like chilling on the sofa in blankets. When I went out to the shop this morning, I was telling to Jen, my car broke last week. I'm having to get a new one on Friday. Had to empty my old one this morning. Took out 4 bags of rubbish, walked down the street, looked like a complete like homeless person, like a wreck, you know, carrying my bags of books and just crap that had been in my car for the last
I'd love it if you had a trolley or something.
Honestly, if I'd had a trolley, it would have made it.
You needed a trolley, to be fair.
And this is the thing. Well, I'm okay with that. You know, and this is, again, it's, if you are selling a lifestyle, you have to live that 24/7. If you are actually selling the results that your clients want, you know, i.e. sales strategy, marketing strategy, clarity, whatever, then your responsibility is to the result, not to how that looks. So I'm okay with the fact I can rock up down the street in my ski jacket, pockets like hamster cheeks with just junk in them, because it doesn't matter. My clients are all out there getting great results, making money, enjoying the sales process, landing clients, da 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 da. It makes no difference what I look like on a Tuesday morning.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And the thing is that your clients, such as me, who equally look as ragged on most days, and not that you look ragged.
No, I do. I've been out in the rain.
Resonate with that. And, you know, and I'm all about, you know, I'm always very transparent. I just, so, you know, I have invested in mindset, you know, I've invested in mindset a couple of times, and it's helped. It massively has helped. But the where I want to spend my money is in strategy. So it's about looking at that alignment with what you're selling and the type of person who, because people value different things as well. Some people value mindset over, I think they're both important, but you will find that I lay more heavily buying into strategy than I will do in mindset. But yeah, you're totally right in terms of that. And the thing is what happens, I think, is that, you know, as I always bang on about, and I know you know this too, is the emotional, the connection is through selling that transformation, right? And so everyone's seeing these people who are going out, like you say, taking the first class flights and whatever else, and they're seeing this amazing identity, and they're like, I want to be that identity, which, you know, is fine. But the value that is then, you know, because you've got to show both transformation value, transformation for the emotional connection, value for the logic, to help people understand why they're going to buy from you, right? So their version of value that I'm totally against is, here's, you know, spend this money with me and you'll find out my hidden strategy. And it's like, and everyone's like, what is it? I mean, you know that I know somebody who was exactly like that, right? Who was like, I need to know what this thing is that they're talking about. It must be amazing. And then they spend their money, and then they get open the door and they reveal this secret strategy, which is a bunch of tats. And that is sales without integrity for me. It's just like,
But this is the thing that really frustrates me. The thing is, you can make money with any strategy. I say this to people all the time. Like, honestly, pick what you like. You want to do webinars, go do a webinar. Want a podcast, go do a podcast. Write a book, go write a book. I've done all of these things and they've all worked for me. Some of them have worked better than others because I've actually enjoyed them more. And that's the trick. Pick the strategy that you enjoy, not what XYZ influencer, and I am going to use air quotes because honestly, the fact that some of them are influencers terrifies me. Like, I just don't know how you sleep at night. But it's about picking what is going to work for you. If you're not a video person, why on earth would you want to shop on Facebook live streams 4 times a week? Yeah, okay, it makes some money for other people.
Yeah,
that's cool.
They're told that it's the next big thing and they should be doing it. And it's
but that's the thing. I'm like, there are certain things in life that you listen to. There are certain life lessons that you take on because they are eminently sensible. You know, don't stick your hand in the fire, because you will get burnt is a great life lesson to take on with you. However, you must show up on Facebook Live 3 times a week and that's going to guarantee you clients. Well, no, it's not. I can put Facebook Live on and I can just have it watching my living room. I could not be doing anything. Am I going to make sales? No, of course I'm not. Equally, if I turn up and I cry on every Facebook Live because I'm so nervous or, upset or whatever, are people going to buy from me? Maybe they'll pity buy, like every so often, but it's not a consistent strategy. So when you're looking and you're thinking for yourself about delivery for your clients, you need to be focused on what's working for your clients, not what's working for you, because the strategies that work for me don't necessarily work for all my clients. I have clients who have product-based businesses. Can I give them my strategies and expect them to run a successful product-based business on service-based selling strategies? No, I can't. Of course I can't. That's not how it works. So when you're hiring people, you have to look at, are they going to deliver me something that works for me? Or are they going to expect me to copy what has worked for them? And do I actually want to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because not everybody's blueprint is right for you. It's just not. It's just not.
Not at all. Not at all.
I'm going to ask you this next question now, and I'm asking you because, I'm just going to put it out there for everybody watching this, that Jess is a sales and leadership coach. I have never met anyone who has such a way with words and who is able to talk on the most delicate and controversial topics and come out so gracefully out the other side. It's just incredible. So for those people... Honestly, it's such a talent. If I ever need anyone to word a dangerous email, I'm like, Jess, I need some help here in wording this. Because if I email them, it's going to be like, she's very, very good. So I'm going to ask this question now. For those who are watching this, who have been stung and have stomached watching this all the way through, still and are still watching, going, oh, who are sitting there beating themselves up because they may have made one of those mistakes where they haven't been transparent about the boundaries, which, particularly if you're new, it may have happened. Let's get off the ivory tower here and say that it happens. Sometimes we make mistakes, but it's our responsibility to rectify it when it happens. Can you just give us some Jessica Lorimer amazing insights into when the shit hits the fan and it's your fault? How do you deal with that?
Do you know what? It's funny because people seem to think that there is a long-winded way of doing this. If you screw up and it's your fault, time to accept it. And you know what? Don't go back and blame your customer. Don't try and find a way of making it their fault or passing the blame. And, in the coaching world, we see this a lot where it's, oh, well, you weren't really all in. You only bought a lower price package, so you weren't all in. Fuck off. Who the hell are you to tell me what my budget looks like and what I can spend my money on? If your client doesn't get the result that they want, it's a problem. Okay. And in that instance, it's your job to say, okay, here's what I'm prepared to do to help you get the result. So that's if the client has put in all of the work you've told them. It's if they've worked really hard. It's if they've actually been a good client. They fulfilled your expectations, and for whatever reason, it hasn't worked. What are you prepared to do to make it work for them? If, however, it hasn't worked because the client didn't show up, they didn't put the work in, they didn't practice, whatever, then it's almost harder in a way to turn around and say, okay, here were the expectations that I laid out of you at the beginning of this process, and here are the expectations that we agreed I would fulfill. Mm-hmm. These are the things that I fulfilled, and these are the things that you have not. And that is why you haven't got the results that you want. So in this situation, I'm not prepared to do anything else. I'm not prepared to give you a refund. And if you want to go and shout about it, that's up to you.
Yeah.
But if you do that, just be aware that I will let people know what the expectations were and what you didn't fulfill in order to make that a reality for you. And that is how it is. Yeah. When we're taking clients on, we can't be afraid that everyone's going to go out and say, if they didn't get results, oh, they were a terrible coach, because that may not be true. There are some really good coaches out there who cannot get results for every single one of their clients. Sometimes it's their fault, and in that case, apologize, refund, give something extra, help them get to where they want to be. If it's the client's fault, I'm sorry, you didn't do the work. As a coach though, this shouldn't happen. It shouldn't be a surprise at the end of the process. This should be something you're continually monitoring. So if you think in month 1 of a 3-month coaching package, that person is not showing up, they're not doing the work required, it's your job to say, as the coach, hey, you're not doing the work. Time to either step up, or you can expect that your results are going to go whoop, because you're not doing what I'm telling you to do. And sometimes we get really afraid of that. The other thing to look at is if your clients are not getting the results that you want them to get. And this is something that we've talked about many times.
Absolutely.
Sometimes as coaches, we want a client to get a specific result. I want my clients to have 50K months. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's not for me to judge that their 48K month wasn't good enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
100%.
And this is what we have to start thinking about when we're talking about delivery and we're talking about client results. You've got to look at, am I expecting them to get the result that they want, which may be their first 5K?
Yeah.
Or am I expecting them to get the result that I want them to get, which is 50K? The two are very, very different.
Yep. And also it goes back to that whole thing of you can't expect people to jump from here to here. They've got to walk through their own journey. They've got to get through that process themselves, and they need to really, walk that walk, because they're never going to learn. Because even if they do, for whatever random reason, they manage to jump from here to here, there will be a ping back, and they'll still have to do the stuff. It generally is, if they've gone from that to that quickly, there's going to be some sort of fluke weird thing going on there in general.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people can get fast results. I'm very fortunate that a lot of my clients get really, really quick sales results. And
I'm a
you are one of those. But we also have to look at the fact that not everybody is you. Not everybody is me. Not everybody takes action as quickly. Not everybody learns as quickly. Some people, it just takes a little bit more time. And we have to let them have that. If you as a coach are pushing your clients to do something in a specific time frame that works for you, no.
Yeah.
That's not going to be what they need. They need you to focus on them and where they are and getting them where they want to be at each stage of the process, not where you want them to be right now. Yeah. And incidentally, it's the same for testimonials. I have plenty of clients that shout about me, and I don't send out testimonial requests all that often. I'm very lucky in that people go out and say, I had this great thing with Jess, or I had that great thing with Jess. Because actually, one of the things that I do very often is talk about, hey, so-and-so did this amazing thing, so-and-so did that. So you breed the culture that you want to create, and you deliver that. When people come to me and they go, can I have a testimonial? And I'm like, have they earned a testimonial? Because if they had, would I have already been shouting about them?
Yeah.
If I would, and they then haven't delivered, the reason they haven't got a testimonial is because they didn't do the job.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. 100%. Oh my goodness, Jess, this has been such a juicy conversation. I'm just looking at the time. It's one of those things we could go on forever talking about, and then I'm going to have a problem on the end of these shows having to shut them off. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on here and giving such amazing golden nuggets of, advice, and obviously blasting this open, because I think this is something that isn't talked about enough, and it's something that needs to get out there. So if anybody watching this has been inspired or is on the same kind of wavelength of this, please do give it a share, pass it on, because I think it's something that the message that needs to be spread is let's do what we say we're going to do. So Jess, I'm going to let you do it, but obviously I know exactly where to find you and how to get hold of you, but everyone else doesn't. So can you just let people know, just by the way, Jess, because I know she probably won't do this, she's got this incredible book out called Smart Leaders Sell. And if you've enjoyed what she's been saying in this interview, you are gonna absolutely love her book. It's just incredible. So do make sure, I'll make sure I pop a link in there that you can grab as well. Smart Leaders Sell. But Jess, go on, I'll let you carry on. Tell people where they can find you.
Oh, well, thanks for pimping the book. If you want to find me, obviously I'm on Facebook. I've got a community called the Smart Leaders Sales Society on Facebook. You can come and join me there. We're having what gets your goat ranty pants hashtag going on at the moment, which then has contributed many too. So you're more than welcome to come over there and get some live sales trainings and talk about the things in the industry that really are happening that we need to shine lights on.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jess, for coming on. It's been so fab talking to you. And congratulations on being the first guest on the Truthbomb Show.
Thank you for having me.
Nice. Cool. Thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye, everyone.